At this hour, we dipped into the high 30s around Walnut Creek, back into Danville. Tri-Valley, 39 degrees. It's 36 now in Fairfield. 44 degrees in throughout the Santa Clara Valley, including Los Gatos and Saratoga. And good morning, San Francisco at 46 degrees. We do have visibility issues. Santa Rosa, quarter of a mile visibility due to dense fog. 3 miles now in Livermore. That is down from 4 miles last hour. And 8 miles around the Central Bay, where you see that gray shaded area. That's our beach hazard statement in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Do not turn your back on that angry ocean. Meanwhile, we do have that green area. It's that time of the year. It's the king tides. It's coinciding with the supermoon that's going to take effect on Thursday. Also, the alignment of the earth. That means that we're going to see some coastal flooding around the bay shore and the seashore. And why should you care? Well, the king tides can be dangerous, so keep your children and pets near you, away from the shoreline. Do not drive through standing water. And this doesn't just last a moment. It lasts for hours with the water standing. 60s across the board today, 59 Antioch. Sal Castaneda, how cold are you this morning?
Well, I did have to use a seat warmer, so there you have that, and that's not often. So good morning to you right now, Roberta. Let's go right to the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. You can see that traffic is moving along okay. If you are driving into San Francisco for this time, there's a 30-minute delay, and then you're off into San Francisco with no delays. This is a look at Interstate 880 in Oakland. It looks pretty good. It's a pretty typical commute. We do have some slow traffic on Highway 4 westbound, as you usually do. This morning, it's slowing down from Railroad to Willow Pass heading west. Now it's 7:02. Let's get back to the headlines.
Thank you, Sal. We'll start here in Oakland, as the city will become the second in the state to install high-tech speed cameras. The cameras will spark citations for those caught going more than 11 miles an hour above the speed limit. Our James Torres live in Oakland here to explore how soon these cameras will be installed. Good morning, James.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, well, I'm standing at one intersection out of 18 where the city of Oakland wants to install these cameras. They say that the cameras will only account for about 8% of intersections in the town, but it will be able to monitor where 60% of the worst accidents as a result of speeding tend to happen. Now, you won't see any of those cameras in the Oakland Hills. You won't see them near the Coliseum either, but they will stretch from downtown to West Oakland to the Fruitvale District to Glenview and parts of the Hagenberger corridor. After the last camera is installed, that's expected to happen at the end of next month, a 60-day grace period will begin, and that's when cameras will first issue warnings for anyone caught driving more than 11 miles an hour faster than the speed limit. It will scan your license plate and send you a notification in the mail, and then after that grace period, you'll risk fines worth anywhere between $50 to $500, all depending on how fast you're actually driving. Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee applauds the technology, saying in part, quote, "Too many Oaklanders are being hurt or killed because of dangerous speeding. This program is a smart, life-saving step forward and brings us closer to streets where everyone can travel safely." Now, city leaders say the technology is absolutely necessary because there are some intersections where more than 10,000 drivers speed more than 11 hours a day, or rather 11 miles an hour a day. San Francisco became the first city to install these cameras. That was earlier this year, and in its first month, city leaders there, rather first 6 months, city leaders there say that they reduced speeding in some of its worst areas by more than 70%. We're live this morning in Oakland. I'm James Torres, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
James, thank you. Happening today, a South Bay event planner is due in court after being accused of scamming families out of thousands of dollars. 51-year-old Juan Martin Gaspar has a plea hearing this afternoon. He faces felony charges of grand theft. Prosecutors say he pocketed money from at least 7 families and didn't pay vendors that supplied things like decorations and food for quinceañeras, traditional celebrations common in Latin American cultures that mark a girl's 15th birthday. Gaspar is out on bail and has been ordered not to work as an event planner as the case goes through the courts.
Our time now 7:05. The 17-year-old's been arrested in connection with Friday's mass shooting on Black Friday at San Jose's Valley Fair Mall. The police have not released his name since he's a minor, but they say the teenager was arrested before for having a concealed loaded firearm. 3 people were shot. The police say one of them was his target, while the other 2 were mother who was shopping with her teenage daughter. Police say the suspect got away with the help of a woman he was with who was pushing a baby stroller. But detectives found him on Sunday and made the arrest.
Our officers have a limited ability to prevent this kind of juvenile violence when our juvenile laws are so weak. The young offenders feel almost no fear of consequences.
Teenagers with guns are incredibly dangerous and must be dealt with very, very seriously with accountability.
Now, the 3 people who were shot are expected to recover. The Santa Clara County District Attorney says the suspected shooter and the woman who helped him get away are expected to be arraigned later this week.
The search continues for whoever is responsible for Saturday night's mass shooting at a children's birthday party in Stockton. The FBI is now offering a $50,000 reward for information that leads to arrests. That's in addition to the $25,000 already announced by Stockton's mayor. 4 people, including 3 children, were killed in the gunfire. At least 11 other people were injured. Stockton's mayor says the shooting could be gang-related. The sheriff's office says it's too early to know for sure. Meanwhile, the family of one child killed in the attack is remembering and honoring him. 14-year-old Amari Peterson attended Saturday night's birthday party with his parents and 3 siblings. His father says his son left his side for a moment when shots rang out inside the banquet hall, and he ended up getting shot. The father then rushed to perform CPR on his son before paramedics arrived. But the boy, an 8th grader, died at the hospital.
I feel so bad about not being able to save him. For my son to only be 14 and to lose his life, it's like...
We were planning where he was going to go to high school, and now we're here planning for him.
Peterson says he thinks the shooter was aiming at a local rapper when he opened fire. The victim's 12-year-old sister survived the attack after a bullet grazed her arm. The Peterson family has started an online fundraiser to help with Amari's funeral expenses.
Our time now 7:08. Well, today the U.S. Supreme Court will hear a case about whether a faith-based pregnancy center misled people in order to stop abortions. These centers have been on the rise since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade back in 2022. First Choice Women's Resource Centers are under fire for misleading women into thinking they offer abortion services. The centers normally provide prenatal care, and they encourage women to carry their pregnancies to term.
New this morning, San Francisco will sue the makers of ultra-processed food products over the health impact to residents. The New York Times reports the city attorney, David Chu, will be filing a lawsuit against 10 major companies that make products such as Coca-Cola and Doritos, or products that are marketed as healthy when they aren't. Chu is expected to announce the lawsuit at an event this morning. The city is accusing companies of being deceptive in their marketing and violating California's competition and advertising laws. It also argues the unhealthy food is negatively impacting people's health. None of the companies targeted in the suit have commented. The head of San Francisco's OpenAI is declaring a code red within the company. The Wall Street Journal reports Sam Altman issued a memo to staffers urging them to improve the company's flagship product, ChatGPT. The company is facing fierce AI competition from rivals such as Google and Anthropic. Altman told staffers the company will concentrate on improving speed and reliability while delaying projects, including ads, health, and a personal assistant. The billionaire founder of Dell Technologies set to announce a huge donation when he meets with President Trump in the Oval Office later today. Michael Dell of Dell Computers is contributing $6 billion to one of President Trump's new economic incentive programs. American babies born between this year and 2028 are now eligible for a one-time $1,000 contribution from the federal government. Their parents will be able to contribute to those same accounts beginning next year.
Time now 7:10. Employees of Instagram will soon have to work from the office 5 days a week. In an internal memo, first reported by Sources newsletter, the company CEO said the new policy will start in early February. He says it's meant to create a more collaborative working environment. Instagram's also moving into a new building in Menlo Park. Now, that change doesn't apply to other Meta departments like Facebook or WhatsApp. They require their workers in the office 3 days a week.
It's 7:10, and we do have the typical slow traffic you see on westbound Highway 4 coming up through the Concord area, or to Concord from Pittsburgh, Bay Point, and Antioch. So heading this way, essentially. It slows near Railroad a little bit before that, and that's about all. 680 still looks pretty good from Concord to Walnut Creek. I don't think that'll stay that way for too much longer. And then we kind of jet down to the South Bay. The South Bay commute is beginning to get busy. Everyone always wants to know about the Bay Bridge, and this morning it is backed up to the maze. Rather typical delay, maybe a little bit before the maze. 20 to 25-minute wait before you make it onto the bridge. 7-11, let's go back to the desk.
All right, Sal, thank you. Well, in the East Bay, a holiday tradition comes alive. Look at the pictures, the event that keeps getting bigger and more popular every year.
The rift between Elon Musk and President Trump may be healing. The one issue still causing friction, though, between the two.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
Some of the stories we're following here at 7:14. The National Weather Service says high tides and coastal flooding are among the threats this week on the peninsula. King tides could push water levels up to 1.4 feet above ground. There are also warnings of 10-foot breaking waves, strong rip currents, and sneaker waves along the coast. Today's the first full day in office for San Francisco's newest supervisor, Alan Wong. He'll represent the Sunset, which is on the western side of the city. Wong is the district's third supervisor in under 3 months. The first was recalled. The second resigned after a week following misconduct allegations. Wong said he'd vote against Proposition K, which turned the Great Highway into Sunset Dunes Park and caused angry voters to oust then supervisor Joel Engardio. Bay Area leaders are encouraging shoppers to buy local. The 12 Days of Alameda campaign kicked off over the weekend, highlighting local businesses across Alameda Island. Each day has a theme. Organizers say the campaign is meant to highlight the important role small businesses have in the community. Shoppers who participate every day will also have a chance to win a themed giveaway.
Well, families all across the Bay Area and beyond, they'll be heading to one special East Bay neighborhood this holiday season.
It's Christmas Tree Lane in Alameda. It's known as the place to go to get in the holiday spirit. KT's Andre Senior here to show us how the spectacular lights are now back on. Andre.
Such a beautiful, beautiful thing for that community to do for so many people here. It's a beloved Bay Area holiday tradition. Began 87 years ago. Once again, people living along Thompson Avenue have created their own holiday magic with dazzling Christmas lights outside their homes. This was the scene last night, shortly after the lights went on along Christmas Tree Lane. It's an event that locals say gets more popular every year. Dozens of neighbors who live along this area take part in these festivities, decking out their homes with eye-popping seasonal lights and ornaments. They've been working for the past several weeks to create one truly amazing holiday show that attracts visitors from miles away.
It's chilly, but we made it. I just feel like it brings us back to our childhood.
It's exciting. We see a lot of little kids coming. That's probably the best part. People always ask, do you have to sign a contract or something? We don't have any of that.
I think that's what makes it so cool, right? They just get together and do it. Some people in this neighborhood say they had to rush to get their homes ready for this holiday event. One elf says his holiday wish was to have more time to prepare.
I look at mine and go, yeah, mine looks good. And I look at everybody else that have been doing this for a long time and go, oh yeah, I'm just a rookie.
Oh man, his reaction is classic. These holiday home decorations got rave reviews on opening night, with the crowds that stopped by saying they loved the decorations. There is still plenty of time if you want to pay a visit to Christmas Tree Lane in Alameda. The lights along Thompson Avenue will be on every night between now and New Year's Day. It is just a beautiful sight to just go walking along that area.
Oh, yeah.
No contract. Everyone just gets together. Does it for the entire neighborhood. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It is beautiful, too. All right, got to go back. All right, I have to go back to Sal. He's watching your morning commute. What's happening out there now?
Well, you know, here we are, December 2nd, almost Christmas, I guess, and people are still commuting. It probably won't knock off the commute, I'd say, until about the last week before Christmas. So let's go right to the Bay Bridge. That still looks pretty full. It is backed up beyond the maze a little bit. And once you get onto the bridge, it looks good. Roberta and I have been talking about fog, but fog is not an issue here. And it's a little misty, but not really foggy in Oakland. That looks pretty good with no major issues. So if you look at the East Bay commute, a little bit of slowing there, Highway 4. 680 is a little slow. You know, this commute's not too bad. My friends in Marin County, southbound 101 slows from Roland Boulevard now to the Civic Center. 7:18. Let's talk to Roberta about the weather.
Okay, this is officially the Rosemary Orozco, Roberta Gonzalez blanket in the weather department. Once in a while, we do see Mark Tamayo wearing it too. Yeah, this is keeping us warm today. Yeah, we have some cold temperatures and we do still have some areas of fog. Morning, everybody. Rise and shine. This is the scene looking out from Geyserville this morning, and oh gosh, it just looks so poetic, doesn't it? Gosh, you want to cuddle up with the blanket in a book right now?
Right. It's like a movie.
Oh, it is. But it's causing some visibility issues in the North Bay. Quarter-mile visibility now in Santa Rosa through Cotati into Sebastopol and Guerneville, otherwise down to 5 miles in Concord, 3 miles Tri-Valley, and 8-mile visibility at Mineta International Airport. No problems at SFO or across the bay at OAK. Dense fog now. And throughout the Central Valley with a fog advisory in effect until 10 o'clock this morning, quarter-mile visibility. Where you see the gray shaded area there, that's again where that beach hazard statement is in effect until tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Do not turn your back to the ocean. Don't even get on the jetties or the rocks. It's just too dangerous. Then the green areas here, that's a coastal flood advisory because it's time for king tides again. So you will see a 6.6 high tide today, about 8:24 this morning. A little bit of lapping of water onshore. You know the spots around the ferry building in Embarcadero in San Francisco, the marshy areas of San Leandro, also the ferry building in San Francisco, 41 right now in Palo Alto. So we have this inside slider, which is a good thing. It is precipitation free, and we do need some rain, but it's going to cause some northeasterly winds. It's going to scour out the fog sooner, even right there in the Central Valley. We're going to see some clearing and that will allow the sun to break through that cloud deck. Temperature up from the low 50s yesterday in the Tri-Valley to 62 degrees, up to 61 in San Francisco, 65 in Morgan Hill for my outside number. We do have that 5-day forecast next time around.
Thank you, Roberta. Coming up, although Governor Newsom has yet to announce that he is running for president, it looks like he is continuing to line up support. What some of his biggest backers are saying from Hollywood.
In battling Oakland's homelessness crisis, the city council vote taking place today. It's aimed at battling blight within Oakland.
A gorgeous look at the Pacifica Pier, one of the prettiest places on the San Mateo County coast. We see waves lapping up on the shore, but there is some concern about hazardous surf today. In addition to this beautiful live picture, we have our own Amanda Quintana standing by in Pacifica. We'll check back in with her in just a minute as she'll describe some of the dangers that are out there along the coast. A good reminder for us all. Meanwhile, back here in the East Bay, happening today, the Oakland City Council is set to vote on a sweeping proposal that would give the city more power to crack down on people who are homeless. The plan would allow the city to shut down encampments regardless of whether Oakland has other shelter to offer. It would also allow the city to cite and tow vehicles that are being used as homes without prior notice. Advocates for people who are homeless argue towing vehicles or clearing encampments will not make Oakland safer or cleaner.
Our time is now 7:24. Well, a candlelight vigil was held last night in Fremont, honoring people who've died while homeless. Faith leaders gathered at St. James Episcopal Church in Fremont, remembering the 117 people who died while living in homelessness in Alameda and Santa Clara counties this year. Their names were read aloud, organizers emphasizing that each individual deserved to be honored and recognized as a valued human being.
Sarah. Sarah was a sweet and warm-hearted lady who will be missed. Samson. Samson was a hard worker who loved his fiancée.
Now, that vigil also included a food drive with donations to be distributed to local shelters.
A well-known drag queen is on a backpacking trip to San Francisco to raise money for nonprofits. The drag queen Patty Gonia is setting out on her 100-mile trip Saturday from Point Reyes National Seashore. Hopes to raise $1 million for 8 nonprofits that make the outdoors a more welcoming space for people of color and queer people. Patty Gonia outlined the trip's details in a recent post on social media.
Now I'm 100 miles north of San Francisco, and I'm going to take all week to fundraise and backpack all the way down the coast, getting in drag every single day, setting up camp every single night, crossing the Golden Gate Bridge, and into my final show of the year. That is, if I can make it in time. And if you're wondering, Patty, are you really doing this? I am. I'm insane. But you know what? I will do anything to support these incredible nonprofits that do so much work to diversify the outdoors. Here are 2 ways.
Patty Gonia hopes to raise $1 million in time for her first show at the Warfield in San Francisco this Saturday. We just checked, and she has raised more than $300,000.
Bravo. All right, our time is 7:26. 2 of the best-known names in fashion are coming together. The change is expected during the merger between Prada and Versace.
And they're all the rage at some children's birthday parties, but now one Bay Area city is moving to prohibit the sale of Mylar balloons. We'll tell you why.
Good morning. If you head to the beach this week, you'll see some of the biggest waves of the year. We'll tell you about the safety warning for swimmers and surfers in local waters. Plus,
one of the registers, like this one, was stolen. They damaged our printer for the kitchen. They broke the window. They damaged in the office the security cameras.
Somebody broke into several businesses at one North Bay shopping center. We'll let you hear from terrified store owners about the break-in.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us. Welcome back to Mornings on 2. I'm Dave Clark.
I'm Gassia Mikaelian. It's a busy Tuesday, December 2nd. Weather is a big part of that.
Yes, it is.
Rain isn't a concern here, Roberta, but just kind of how we feel when we walk outside. It does affect everybody.
It does. It's cold. It's foggy in some areas. And we have a couple of different advisories you need to know about. First things first, let's step on out the door, live weather camera. This time around, it's a beautiful view of San Bruno Mountain. In the foreground there, we have the Santa Cruz Mountains. You can see a little bit of Daly City and Brisbane, but we can see it. The fog will be clearing today. And it's about time for many people. But look at these temperatures. 36 Santa Rosa, 39 in Novato. East Bay numbers stacking up from 38 in Walnut Creek to the high 30s around Pleasanton, Dublin, and Livermore. Low 40s around the peninsula to nearly 50 at SFO. It's 44 in San Jose and 40s across the seashore, where currently 8-mile visibility in Half Moon Bay. But check out the North Bay, problematic. Novato, no visibility. It's foggy. 1/4 mile Santa Rosa, 3 miles as good as it gets in Livermore, and 8 miles at Mineta International Airport. That gray shaded area, that's where we have that hazardous beach statement in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Do not turn your back to the ocean. Meanwhile, we do have that green highlighted area. We have a coastal flood advisory due to king tides taking effect. 8:24 is your high tide beach hazard alert again in effect. We got the full forecast. It's coming up. First things first, South Castaneda, where is it the busiest this morning?
Well, you know, I would say Contra Costa County or Marin are in that race to be the busiest. But let's start with Highway 4 westbound. You can see traffic there is going to be busy now. Our Highway 4 camera is definitely affected by fog, so I can't show you the camera, but I can show you the map. It is backed up well into Pittsburgh from Somersville. 680 is slow through Pleasant Hill heading south, and that's not unusual there. Bay Bridge is backed up beyond the maze, and the metering lights are on. If you're driving in Oakland in general, it's not too slow. 880 still looks pretty good past the Coliseum. 7:32, let's go back to the desk.
All right, Sal, thank you. Well, starting today, high tides, coastal flooding, and some big waves are expected in San Francisco and along the coast. And a coastal flood advisory is in effect. It's going to stay in effect through the weekend. KTVU's Amanda Quintana is in Pacifica right now to tell us more about what we should know. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning. Yes, these are some pretty big waves that we are seeing out here. I mean, they're crashing over these walls. A lot of times, you know, people that are driving by, the waves are even hitting their cars as they're driving by. So they are really big here in Pacifica. It is high tide right now, happening just about a minute ago. And according to this tide forecast I'm seeing online, it says 8.6-foot waves here in Pacifica. So understandable why they are crashing over here. But first responders, they're really trying to get the word out to stay safe along the water. We're expecting dangerous conditions at Bay Area beaches for the next few days. And all of this comes just weeks after multiple drownings along the coast in Monterey County. People watching the water along the rocks were swept up by large waves there. Over the last year, we've had 7 deaths along the coast from Monterey up to Humboldt, but 3 people have died since November 14th. The National Weather Service says low-lying neighborhoods along the water could see flooding. King tides are expected to push water levels up to 1.4 feet above ground. They're also warning of about 10-foot breaking waves, strong rip currents, and a heightened risk of sneaker waves.
This time of year, it is colder, so that water is going to be a little more active and a little more aggressive. So we also encourage you to stay off the rocks right now because it is more slippery as well. The ocean is moving at a very high rate that may be deadly to you compared to other times of the year where it's more safe to go in.
People are advised to be careful near the ocean, avoid climbing on rocks, watch out for sudden waves. Don't turn your back to the ocean like you heard Roberta say. I am actively trying to remember that right now, even though we're, kind of far from this wall. We're getting wet. We are seeing some really big waves here. We are also seeing some flooding out here on the streets. I know earlier we saw some people from the neighborhood come out and kind of fix some of these barricades because the barricades, wow, you can see that big one. Oh, there it goes again. The barricades keep getting knocked over by these big waves. So definitely high tides here, big waves here in Pacifica, and we should expect to see waves like this. Oh my goodness, those barricades are just really getting knocked over. We should expect this over the next few days. So definitely be aware, be cautious if you're going out near the beaches anywhere here in the Bay Area. Live in Pacifica, Amanda Quintana, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Amanda, thank you. To the North Bay here, as a San Rafael woman accused of killing her mother last year has been found not guilty by reason of insanity. The Marin Independent Journal reports the verdict came Monday after a few hours of deliberation. Jurors determined that 30-year-old Tonitson Beltran's mental illness was so severe she could not understand the attack was wrong. A judge has ordered her to be sent to a state psychiatric facility indefinitely.
Our time now 7:36. Police in San Rafael still out there searching for the criminals who burglarized 5 businesses over the weekend at a popular shopping mall. Now take a look at this surveillance video. You see the burglars breaking into a donut shop at the Northgate 1 shopping center just after 3 a.m. Saturday morning. They used hammers to smash through the glass door. The co-owner of the business was busy in the back making donuts when she heard the shattered glass.
I heard something crack, that I come out. I see my door is broke down. I see 2 guys in the front door, 2 guys. After that, as I look inside, I have 1 guy in my shop, After that, I'm shocked. I loud, I call, oh my God. And they hear me, they saw me, they run away.
Now, those thieves also broke into an ice cream parlor, a bagel shop, a taco shop, and a Thai restaurant that same morning in the same mall in Terra Linda. There's no word yet on how much money was stolen or the total amount of the damage.
Happening today, the Alameda City Council will meet to consider an ordinance that would ban the sale and distribution of Mylar balloons in the city. Supporters of the measure say Mylar balloons can cause power outages and electrical hazards when they come into contact with power lines. A PG&E study conducted in 2022 found they caused more than 400 power outages in its service areas in northern and central California. The blackouts affected more than 200,000 homes and businesses. A state law will ban Mylar balloons starting in 2031. Teachers in the West Contra Costa School District may soon go on strike as early as tomorrow. The United Teachers of Richmond voted last month to authorize a strike in response to unmet demands of higher pay and better health care. The union says teachers in the district are the lowest paid of any of the major districts in Contra Costa County, and that's led to a large number of teachers retiring or resigning. West Contra Costa has offered teachers and staff an ongoing 2% salary increase. A labor mediators report released on Friday recommended a 3% salary increase.
Time is now 7:38. San Francisco's Sunset District once again has a new supervisor. He's Alan Wong. He was sworn in as the newest supervisor for District 4 yesterday. The new supervisor said he's honored to represent his neighborhood. He also said he voted against Proposition K, that controversial proposition that turned the Great Highway into Sunset Dunes Park. Juan says he's open to talking about it again.
I will be meeting with stakeholders that supported both the closure of the Great Highway and those that supported the compromise, and ensure moving forward, before I make any decisions, major policy decisions, that I have public legitimacy and trust.
Supervisor Wong says he's also facing a controversial vote today on Mayor Laurie's family zoning plan at his first board meeting. He said he'll vote in favor of the mayor's housing proposal.
Governor Newsom has made a number of statements lately that many see as the strongest indication yet he may run for president in 2028. Now, wealthy Hollywood donors are lining up to support a possible bid for the White House, including director Steven Spielberg, actor and singer Barbra Streisand, and media tycoon Byron Allen. Supporters say Governor Newsom is a political fighter who will abolish nearly all of the Trump administration's policies once he enters the White House. Democrats and Republicans across the country keeping a very close eye on today's special congressional election in Tennessee. Republican Matt Van Epp has the support of President Trump. He's running against Democrat Afton Bain. The outcome of the race could send a nationwide political message ahead of next year's midterms. 60% of the voters in the district supported President Trump last year. A Democratic victory in this conservative stronghold would likely be seen as bad news for the GOP.
Our time now 7:40. Tesla CEO Elon Musk believes a growing number of outsourcing companies are gaming the current H-1B visa system. Elon Musk says while he remains a supporter of the H-1B visa program, he believes companies are using these visas to hire foreign employees at a fraction of the cost of an American citizens. He says some major reforms are needed to protect American tech workers. Now, back in September, President Trump raised the H-1B visa fees to $100,000 for highly trained foreign workers. Well, President Trump is set to host a cabinet meeting in just about an hour from now. He's expected to talk about the airstrikes on alleged drug boats in the Caribbean Sea back in September. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have been criticizing the Trump administration because of reports of an order from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, where he called for a second airstrike that killed survivors on that boat. The Trump administration insists those operations were not illegal.
All right, 7:41 here. A nationwide study following thousands of children is raising concern about how young is too young for a smartphone. The research points to clear patterns between early ownership and long-term health challenges.
That's a big question. We'll talk more about it when you join us on the 9. But for right now, we want to hear from you. So let's go over to Andre Sr. You have our viewer poll of the day.
Long debated topic.
Yeah.
Still no settlement on what it is, but we like to get people's opinion on what this is about here. Let's get to it. This morning we're asking, what age do you think is appropriate for a child to get their first smartphone? Here are your options: under 10, 10 to 12, 13 to 15, or 16 or older. And right now 56% of you say 13 to 15 years old is an appropriate age for your child to have a smartphone. To weigh in, just head to KTVU.com/vote. Let us know what you think about our question of the day.
All right.
Mm-hmm. All right. So look, as we go to break, take one more look at the poll, and you can start dialing. You can scan that QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen. It'll take you to our poll.
Here's some of the morning's top stories here. The city of Oakland will soon have new high-tech speed cameras installed. Oakland's transportation department plans to install cameras at 18 locations by mid-January. Drivers caught speeding will have a 60-day warning period. After that, they could be fined anywhere from $50 to $500, depending on their speed. Congressional members from both parties are concerned the Trump administration may have committed war crimes with a double strike on an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean. More than 80 alleged drug traffickers have been killed since the military launched the strikes earlier this year. The Washington Post reported 2 survivors clinging to the wreckage were killed in a follow-up strike. And Costco is suing the Trump administration to get a full refund of new tariffs paid this year. Costco's lawsuit is urging the Federal Trade Court to declare the president's emergency tariffs illegal, saying he does not have the authorization to declare the tariff agenda. 2 lower courts already ruled President Trump exceeded his authority.
Time is now 7:45. New requirements are in effect for federal food assistance programs, possibly affecting millions of recipients. More people will have to work or train or volunteer at least 80 hours a month to keep getting those benefits. The so-called Big Beautiful Bill that was signed last summer, well, it expands the age range for that requirement from 18 to 64 up from 54. It also now includes veterans and those who are dealing with homelessness and parents whose children are older than 14.
We're probably looking at about a 6 billion meal per year gap that's going to be created.
Congressional Budget Office projects these changes could reduce the number of recipients by 2.4 million over the next decade. Recipients who don't meet the new requirements could start losing their benefits as early as March.
Another Bay Area Denny's location is closed amid the sale of the restaurant chain. The Press Democrat reports the Denny's inside Santa Rosa's Coddingtown Mall is closed permanently. 90 other locations closed this year because they didn't have enough foot traffic. The company says Denny's still has more than 1,300 locations open nationwide and plans to open new locations. The company that recently purchased Denny's for $620 million also recently just bought Del Taco. Well, flip phones are seeing a resurgence, and Samsung is taking them one step further. Samsung launching its first ever multi-folding phone. The Galaxy Z Tri-Fold will cost more than $2,000. It features a 10-inch display using 3 panels. The company says the phone is about 25% larger than its current flip phone. The Tri-Fold can also charge to 50% battery in half an hour. Samsung will first sell the devices in South Korea and then other countries in Asia. They'll come to the United States as early as the first quarter of next year.
All right, our time is 7:47. A high-end fashion deal is in the works right now involving billions with a B. Dollars.
Also, Walmart is making a big move on Wall Street. Pam Cook is rounding all this up.
Yeah.
He's back for today's dollars and cents.
Wall Street wants to be known as a tech company as well. Those are certainly doing well. Walmart announced plans to call for a, quote, tech-forward approach. So its stock is moving from the New York Stock Exchange over to the NASDAQ, where the big tech firms trade. That happens next week. Walmart is the world's largest retailer, but Amazon closely behind and is already known as a tech company as well, with a big presence in cloud computing and, of course, Amazon Web Services. The chairman of the SEC rang the opening bell this morning as the U.S. gets ready to celebrate its 250th anniversary. Part of the celebrations include recognizing the significance of the U.S. economy. All right, taking a live look, those tech stocks helping take things up today. There's a live look at the Dow Jones up almost 0.5%, 200 points. The NASDAQ also up 224 points, almost a full percentage point. And the S&P 500 up about 0.5% as well. The founder of SoftBank has expressed regret over the firm's decision to sell its entire stake in NVIDIA. The Japanese tech conglomerate sold its 32 million NVIDIA shares in October for nearly $6 billion to fund its aggressive new ventures. SoftBank officials say they recognize the chipmaker's great value and potential, but considered the sale a necessary step to raise capital for new investments in the artificial intelligence space. The demand for specialized memory chips, driven by chip giant NVIDIA's focus on AI servers, is creating shortages in global supply chains. Tech manufacturers warn these soaring material costs will soon translate into an expected 5 to 10% price hike for new gadgets, including laptops and tablets. And two longtime rivals in the fashion world are coming together under one roof. Prada announced this morning it has finalized the purchase of Versace for $1.4 billion. Prada says it is not planning to make any swift executive changes at Versace, at least in the beginning. However, fashion industry analysts expect the deal will re-energize the 47-year-old Versace brand. Prada has spent hundreds of millions of dollars to bolster supply chains worldwide. I'm Pam Cook. That's Look at Your Dollars and Cents.
All right, Pam Cook. Time is 7:50, and for the second straight year, Oakland is getting national recognition for its restaurant and food scene. After more than 700,000 votes, the readers of Condé Nast Traveler voted Oakland as the nation's #1 city for food. Oakland was also honored in last year's list. The participants highlighted Oakland's Temescal neighborhood, including restaurants like Burdell and Pizzaiola. They also praised the Fruitvale district for its taco trucks and the best birria in the country. San Francisco was also honored as the 5th best food city for its farm-to-table cuisine and seafood.
Right, 7:51.
Yes.
Let's get out the door. We're getting into that crunch time, right? School, meetings, all that stuff starts soon.
Yes, absolutely there, Garcia and Dave. Southbound 880 is slow, and we do have some slow traffic there. I want to mention that in San Jose, we have a relatively new crash on northbound 101 at Yerba Buena. That one is already on the shoulder, but we have slowing from Blossom Hill Road and also northbound 680 coming up on Jackson. There was a crash there, and traffic is slow heading up, which is not usually the case. It's slow heading up to Milpitas on 680. The other freeway, 280 northbound, is slow through downtown San Jose. Let's take a look at the Bay Bridge. You can see that the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza still backed up from about the maze. It stayed about the same this morning, 20 to 25-minute delay. 7:51. Let's talk about today's weather. Here's Roberta.
Sal, we have a beautiful picture. This is from photojournalist Chip Vaughn. He's in Pacifica, and the reason why I'd like to explain this is so beautiful. It tells a story here. We're looking at the wet sidewalks next to the pier in Pacifica. That is caused by the king tides, and that is colliding with our beach hazard statement in effect for those sneaker waves. Now, you see things look pretty calm out there right now, but these sets of waves that come in 10 to 12 feet, well, they roll in every 10 to 20 minutes. So you get a little disillusioned there. You think, oh, everything's so calm and peaceful, but no, just wait. Don't turn your back to the ocean, because these waves right now, 8 feet in Pacifica, but we're anticipating 10 to 12 feet throughout the day today. They can take you by surprise. And this is why we do not want you to have your back towards that angry ocean. And we also have the water temperature right now, 57 degrees. That gray highlighted area, it encompasses all the way up to Humboldt County and then all the way south to Santa Cruz. That's in effect till tomorrow at 10 p.m. Meanwhile, we have the coastal flood advisory due to the king tides are about a foot above average as far as your high tide is concerned. And that high tide today is at 824, should register about 6.6. So you know the flooding spots around the Embarcadero, the ferry building, also in our East Bay around the San Leandro Marina, Alameda as well, and the peninsula anywhere around Millbrae and Burlingame and all the way into East Palo Alto. Visibility an issue in the North Bay right now, 1/4 mile due to fog in Santa Rosa. It has improved in Novato, still restricted in the Tri-Valley, 8 miles in the Santa Clara Valley, dense fog advisory across the Central Valley until 10 a.m. Temperatures are cold. North Bay, mid-30s, high 30s around Walnut Creek through Livermore, 44 San Jose. Area of high pressure diverting this inside slider. That is resulting in some gusty winds tomorrow. 60s across the board except for Antioch at 59 degrees. Slow to clear from the Thule fog there. There's your windy Wednesday. Mix of sun and clouds Thursday all the way through the weekend. Dave?
All right, Roberta, thank you. Our time is now 7:54. Pope Leo wrapping up an historic visit to the Middle East. Up next at 8 o'clock, what the Pope said as he urged enemies to choose peace and end the fighting. And renovations are underway for one of San Francisco's busiest streets. Some of the neighbors there say they're not happy at all. Welcome back to Mornings on 2 at 7:57. Stanford University today introducing its new head football coach. General Manager Andrew Luck will officially introduce his former teammate, Tavita Pritchard, as the Stanford's new coach at a news conference this morning. The current NFL assistant returns to the farm to lead the team after working as the quarterbacks coach for the Washington Commanders. Former interim head coach Frank Reich will remain with the team as a senior advisor. The construction work is underway now in San Francisco, the first phase of the 19th Avenue repaving project. All 6 lanes of the road between Lincoln and Sloat will be repaved over the next year. Now, 2 lanes are going to stay open at all times. 1 lane will be closed in the direction of the repaving work. That means during peak commute hours for the next year, traffic could be slowed down and parking in the area will be hard to find. Some residents of the Sunset District are not happy about it.
Closing that lane along with the Great Highway being closed just means more congestion for the Sunset, and the fact that it's a main thoroughfare means we're going to see a lot more of stopping and going.
Now, Caltrans advising drivers find an alternate route. Caltrans says the construction work is long overdue and says 19th Avenue, which also serves as Highway 1 through San Francisco, has not been fixed and rehabilitated for several years.
You just have to be aware of your surroundings. Keep your head up and off your phone.
Shoppers confident Valley Fair Mall is safe despite the gunshots that rang out during the busiest shopping day of the year. The suspected reason, gang rivalry. A teen under arrest, and so was a woman accused of helping him escape. A wave of danger crashing onto the Bay Area coastline, and it's not the only threat that residents of our region need to be aware. And the leader of the Catholic Church journeys to a site of a massive explosion. The pontiff's message to the more than 100,000 people who turned out to hear him speak.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Well, welcome to Mornings on 2 at 8 o'clock. The camera's moving around there on the Oakland estuary. You can see the sun is out, but we do still have some fog outside. And looks like the winds are calm because the water looks like ice this morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andre Sr.
Good morning. I'm Garcia Mikaelian. December 2nd, Tuesday. Another cold start to the day. Let's go down to the Weather Center. Pop in and say hello to our Roberta Gonzalez, who is detailing some slight changes ahead.
Yes, good morning, Garcia. And Andre, you were spot on with those glassy waters. We lack a wind this morning, but this time tomorrow, we're going to be talking about some very strong offshore winds, especially in the higher elevations, up to 30 and 40 miles per hour. Right now, all eyes posted on the Pacifica Pier. That's where we have a combination of coastal flooding taking place with an advisory that took effect at 6 o'clock this morning all the way through the weekend. We do have high tide at 8:24 around the San Francisco area, 6.6, and that's colliding with our beach hazard alert that's also in effect. So that's what the end result is. When you have the king tides and you have some strong waves, you have some flooding on the sidewalk. So please stay away from those coastal waters this morning or any of the areas around the Embarcadero and the Ferry Building, where currently it's 45 degrees. Boy, it's cold north of the Golden Gate Bridge into the 30s. East of the Bay Bridge, we have 38 degrees in Walnut Creek, and the Santa Clara Valley 43. It's in the mid-40s around the peninsula. No issues with visibility there, but look at Santa Rosa. We cannot dig out of the fog there. Just a quarter of a mile visibility, 2 miles in throughout the Tri-Valley. Where you see that gray area, again, that's a beach hazard that is in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow. And then meanwhile, we do have that coastal flood advisory for that green highlighted area. And yes, that does include Alameda back in through the San Leandro Marina. Temperatures today will be in the 60s. We promise you, Livermore, you will see some sunshine today at 62 degrees. Full forecast in just a matter of minutes from now. Sal Castaneda, where were you steering us off to this morning?
Well, we're always looking, Roberta, at the Bay Bridge because people always want to know what that's like. And right now it is still backed up to the mains. It's been pretty steady. About a 20 to 25 minute delay here at the Bay Bridge. No major issues here. The traffic is moving along relatively well. Just getting word of a collision in Fremont on Mission Boulevard at Niles Boulevard in Fremont. That's a very major intersection, and it sounds like it's a pretty serious crash. Again, Mission Boulevard at Niles, right where Niles Canyon comes off of Mission. This is a look at 880 northbound. You can see. So the crash that just got here from our assignment desk is Mission at Niles. Let me see if I can put it in here. It would basically be right here, and that makes sense that there's some slow traffic. So we're gonna keep an eye on it for you. At 8:02, let's get back to the headlines.
Thank you, Sal. Happening today, high tides, coastal flooding, and big waves expected in San Francisco and beyond.
Coastal flood advisory in effect and will stay in effect through the weekend. KTVU's Amanda Quintana is in Pacifica with what you should know. Good morning to you, Amanda.
Good morning. Yes, we are definitely starting to see that flooding around here. The waves are huge. The waves are really big. I mean, there's no other way to say it. We've been standing here watching them crash over this wall. We've seen people come up, try to take pictures, and then just get blasted with water because they're getting too close. They're going right up to that railing there. We're seeing a lot of water pool in the street here. We just saw crews with the Department of Public Works come over. Whoa, look at that big one. And that guy there to take a picture is now rethinking where he was standing. We saw them come put up these detour signs, come put up these barricades that really just keep getting hit by the waves and getting hit over. So these are big waves. These are definitely having people come here just to see this. And first responders, you know, they're trying to let people know they need to stay safe along the water because we are expecting these dangerous conditions at Bay Area beaches for the next few days. And all of this comes just weeks after multiple drownings along the coast in Monterey County. People were watching the water along the rocks there and were swept up by large waves. Over the last year, we've had 7 deaths along the coast from Monterey up to Humboldt. 3 people have died just since November 14th. The National Weather Service says low-lying neighborhoods along the water could see flooding. King tides expected to push water levels up to 1.4 feet above ground. They're also warning of about 10-foot breaking waves, strong rip currents, and a heightened risk of sneaker waves.
This time of year, it is colder, so that water is going to be a little more active and a little more aggressive. So we also encourage you to stay off the rocks right now because it is more slippery as well. The ocean is moving at a very high rate that may be deadly to you compared to other times of the year where it's more safe to go in.
Now, there are not a lot of people out walking along the wall here, but we did just meet a photographer who came here just to capture these waves.
Waves is just really, how close can you be to nature, you know, and it's really thrilling, you know, but you got to be safe. I mean, never turn your back. And I've gotten hit standing here.
People are advised to be careful near the ocean, avoid climbing on rocks, watch out for those sudden waves. Here, I mean, you know, you heard that photographer, he came here for the waves, but it's important to know what you're doing. No, you can't turn your back to the ocean. No, you can't be that close. We did see some people out here trying to take pictures and then, you know, the wave went right over them. So it's important to know that these waves are dangerous. I mean, he came out here saying, you know, Mother Nature, it is dangerous. So be advised, be cautious if you do go out anywhere near the beaches here in the Bay Area. Live in Pacifica, Amanda Quintana, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Amanda, certainly some wise words there. Appreciate your time. Time now is 8:06. This morning, San Jose police have not released the name of the 17-year-old arrested in connection with the Black Friday mass shooting at Valley Fair Mall. But they say the teenager was arrested before for having a concealed loaded firearm. 3 people were shot. Police say one of them was his target. The other 2 were a mother and daughter who were shopping at the mall at the time. Police say the suspect escaped the scene with the help of a woman he was with who was pushing a stroller. But detectives found him Sunday and made the arrest.
Our officers have a limited ability to prevent this kind of juvenile violence when our juvenile laws are so weak. The young offenders feel almost no fear of consequences.
Teenagers with guns are incredibly dangerous and must be dealt with very, very seriously with accountability.
All 3 injured people are expected to recover. The Santa Clara County District Attorney says the suspected shooter and the woman who helped him escape are expected to be arraigned later this week.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem wants to launch an expanded travel ban following a deadly attack on National Guard troops near the White House. Secretary Noem says she wants to expand the White House's travel ban to cover more countries, but didn't name which countries she wants to include. The government recently announced a review of green card holders from 19 countries, including Afghanistan. A man believed to have opened fire on National Guard members came to the U.S. from Afghanistan after working with a CIA-backed military group. Costco is suing the Trump administration to get a full refund of new tariffs paid this year. Costco's lawsuits urging the federal trade court to declare the president's emergency tariffs illegal, saying he doesn't have the authority to declare the tariff agenda. Two lower courts already ruled President Trump exceeded his authority.
Well, today the Supreme Court will hear a case about whether a faith-based pregnancy center misled people in order to stop abortions. These facilities have been on the rise since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022. First-choice women's resource centers are under fire for misleading women into thinking they offer abortion services. The centers generally provide parental care and encourage women to carry pregnancies to term.
Pope Leo is now heading back to Vatican City after wrapping up his trip to the Middle East. Early today, the Pope made his final stop in Lebanon, visited the site of a deadly port explosion in Beirut. 219 people died at a warehouse that stored dangerous chemicals about 5 years ago. The Pope then led Mass for 150,000 people.
The results of your efforts for peace are slow in coming. I invite you to lift your gaze to the Lord who is coming. Let us look to him with hope and courage, inviting everyone to set out on the path of coexistence, fraternity, and peace.
Pope Leo started his first overseas trip as Pope in Turkey, where he continually called for peace across the region.
All right, we have a crash on Niles Road at Mission Boulevard. I put it up with an arrow on it. That's an area to avoid. It's a pretty busy area. Fremont Fire Department is on the scene there. Let's talk about the commute here at the Bay Bridge. It's been steady, about a 20 to 25 minute delay before you make it onto the span. So it's been, so what you might expect at the Bay Bridge. As you drive into San Francisco, it looks okay. 880 northbound is all right. I just got word of something new in San Francisco. Northbound 101 north of Silver Avenue. I'm not sure if that's a stalled vehicle, but it is blocking, something is blocking the second from the left-hand lane. 809, let's go back to the desk.
Millions of kids could be next in line to get a major financial gift. What the massive donation to investment accounts for young children could mean for families around the country.
A health shakeup looming this week. The sweeping changes that could reshape when children receive specific vaccines.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
Well, this morning, Michael and Susan Dell announcing a $6.2 billion donation to fund investment accounts known as Trump accounts for U.S. children. They're aimed at expanding a federal effort to give every child a financial foundation. For more insight on this donation and what it could mean, and from the White House as well, we welcome Todd Belt, Director of Political Management at the George Washington University. Todd, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me on. It's great to be with you today.
All right, so Todd, this is an investment account that the Michael and Susan Dell are going to be donating to the Trump administration. Can you explain what this is all about?
Right now, they're still working on the mechanism for this, but the idea behind this is to build upon the idea of what are called Trump accounts, which were in that big, beautiful bill that was passed last July 4th. Donald Trump loves to have things named after him, so Obama had his Obamacare, and Donald Trump is going to have these Trump accounts, which are for people who are under 18 years old and are going to be born within the next 3 years. The idea behind the Dells is that they are going to try to get this jump started for low-income people. They want to give $250 to people with children who are born within the next 3 years who live in zip codes where the median income is below $150,000. Now, this can be supplemented by a tax credit that is given to parents. If they put in an extra $1,000, they can get a $1,000 credit from their taxes to try to grow this and to take advantage of the whole idea of compound interest and to get people saving for retirement. And they would act like retirement accounts. They can't touch them until they're 18, but after they're 18, they're treated just like retirement accounts.
So you have to flip them into investments after that, so you can't just take the money out and spend it. They want you to have this money to grow over time in some sort of investment.
Right. These are actually going to be invested in some very low-risk mutual funds in the term that they are going to be offered.
Okay, so why do you suppose Michael and Susan Dell would offer over $6 billion to this effort here? I mean, if the Trump administration wants to do this on their own, which they had tossed around the idea of having the Treasury Department put $1,000 in every Trump account for parents, why does a private entity have to come in and support that?
Well, the Dells have been trying to give away some of their fortune in terms of education. They're really concerned about promoting K through 12 and higher education. But this is another aspect of Donald Trump going to these wealthy billionaires and trying to make them the benefactors of the nation. We saw Timothy Mellon give $130 million to try to keep the military funded during the budget shutdown. And, you know, we've seen Donald Trump do a lot of things to try to bring in some of the tech companies more into governance and to put more public-private partnerships. So some people are wondering, well, this is starting to look more like the Gilded Age where we're depending upon these billionaires rather than the regular order of the type of government programs like Social Security that have been provided in the past.
But is there anything necessarily wrong with what he's doing here and what these billionaires are doing here? I mean, the basis for this particular program is to start children in the U.S. with a good financial foundation. That in itself is good. Normally, these programs, though, come from the government themselves, not from these private partnerships. But if you have these billionaires involved, is that a good thing or a bad thing? How do you see that?
Right. Well, this is the government providing a program that a billionaire is going to contribute to if you happen to live in a zip code that has a lower than 150,000 median income. And I think that's where we're going to see some of these lawsuits crop up and challenges to this, because usually a means test is an individual means test. For example, to qualify for Medicaid or food stamps, you have to prove that you as an individual are making below a certain amount of money, not that you live in a certain area that has a median income that low. So I think that the way they're trying to do it might have some legal ramifications.
All right, so it means that we're not done talking about this just yet. Todd Bell, Director of Political Management at the George Washington University. Thanks for joining us this morning and providing your insight.
Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Certainly.
8:17, the CDC's vaccine advisory panel is set to meet this week to discuss major changes around childhood immunizations. The Committee on Immunization Practice is expected to vote on recommendations that could affect which vaccines are covered by insurance and government programs. Key proposals hint at delaying the routine hepatitis B vaccine for newborns. This follows a previous vote requiring separate shots for measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella, the medical term for chickenpox, instead of the combined MMRV vaccine. The FAA is looking into whether airlines met the requirement to cut back on flights during the government shutdown. The FAA sent letters to airlines trying to find out if they followed orders to cut back on flights at 40 major airports. The airlines have up to 30 days to provide evidence that they followed the emergency order. If they didn't, airlines may face fines of up to $75,000 per flight. Thousands of flights were delayed and canceled days after the restrictions began. The restrictions were lifted November 16th.
Time now is 8:18, and we do have, I would say, a moderate commute. Nothing too out of the ordinary this morning. We're looking at the slow traffic that usually forms on 880 getting into downtown Oakland. If you're going as far as the Bay Bridge, not a lot of improvement yet, although yesterday we improved closer to 9. It could be the case today. We also have been looking at the East Shore Freeway, and that traffic is okay. Also, the Richmond Bridge traffic is still busy. I want to put the South Bay map up because we've had a lot of slow traffic in the South Bay on all the freeways. We've had a couple of crashes, but really, it is slow. This is business as usual in the Silicon Valley for sure on all the approaches to the West Valley. 8:19. Let's bring Roberta back in here.
Usually Tuesdays are very busy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a reprieve, a little bit of break for you today. Yeah, okay. Well,
Okay,
good morning.
Andre.
Good morning, everybody. Got some fun things to talk about. Andre's paying attention. I thank you very much, sir, for that. We have a cold moon on approach, and Kevin Pender, he is in our Technical Operations Center. He rolled on some moon video overnight, and that moon video was just extraordinary, and it wasn't even at its fullest yet. It was a 93% waxing gibbous, but I got to tell you, on Thursday, we have a super moon, and it's going to be the final super moon of 2025. It does rise at 4:26, and sunset, you know, is about, what, 4:50. So you're going to be able to see it rising in the east, especially if you're heading towards the Altamont Pass. It's going to be extraordinary, and I just wanted to give you a heads up on that, a nice preview on what is to come. Meanwhile, we're taking a look at Pacifica at the pier, and we've had lots of people out there wanting to see the huge waves. Now, remember, they come in sets. They could be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes before you see one of those things, and that high waves is colliding with high tide that's taking place right now. It's the king tides, and this is why we have all kinds of stuff going on along the coast right now. This gray area, this is where we do have that beach hazard statement in effect until tomorrow night, and the green area is the coastal flood advisory. The coastal flood advisory is posted all the way through the weekend. Now, meanwhile, why should you care about the king tides? Well, they can be dangerous. Keep your children and your pets near you and away from the shoreline. Do not drive through any standing water. And the high tides don't last just a minute. It can stay around for a while. As far as the water is concerned, it is quite elevated. Right now, not so elevated. The temperature 37 degrees in Santa Rosa, but we have gone up to 43 in Nevada, 39 in Walnut Creek. Tri-Valley's been between 38 and 41. Visibility still an issue across the North Bay. Insight slider right now is going to clear our skies out from the fog with stronger winds for your Wednesday. 59 to 65 degrees. Boy, it's been glorious in the South Bay through Morgan Hill into Gilroy. Here's your extended forecast. Windy on Wednesday, a mix of sun and clouds on Thursday, pretty much all the way through the weekend. Enjoy your day.
Roberta, thank you. This year's Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales show shoppers are increasingly turning to a new way of buying, while more are turning to buy now, pay later options.
A nationwide study following thousands of children raising concerns about how young is too young for a smartphone. So that's the question we asked you this morning. How young is too young? And what age should a child get a smartphone? 50% of you say 13 to 15 years old. 35% of you say 16 or older. 13% say 10 to 12. And 2% say under 10. Just scan the QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen or go to ktvu.com/vote. Let us know what you think. Well, Apple is adding new features to its music app to keep up with Spotify.
And a high-end fashion deal is in the works. Pam Cook back in studio with details on dollars and cents.
You can put it all together now. Prada,
Right.
Versace.
All in the same closet.
You know, Garcia is going right out.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Prada announced this morning it finalized the purchase of Versace for close to $1.4 billion. Fashion industry analysts expect the deal will re-energize the 47-year-old Versace brand. We'll see what happens. The chairman of the SEC rang the opening bell this morning as the U.S. is getting ready to celebrate its 250th anniversary. Part of the celebrations include, of course, recognizing the significance of the U.S. economy. All right, as we take a live look at the numbers, the tech stocks certainly helping fuel a bit of a rally today, but boy, they have really pulled back in the last hour. The Dow and the NASDAQ were both up about 200 points, 0.5%. You can see the Dow Jones still hanging on to a little bit of a gain. The NASDAQ also still up, but only about 0.25% now, and the S&P 500 is barely hanging on to a gain right now. The head of San Francisco's OpenAI declaring a code red within the company. The Wall Street Journal reports Sam Altman issued a memo to staffers urging them to improve the company's flagship product, ChatGPT. Now, the company is facing fierce AI competition right now from rivals including Google and Anthropic. Altman told staffers the company will concentrate on improving speed and reliability while delaying some other projects involving ads, health, and personal assistant. This year's early holiday shopping figures show many Americans still like or maybe need to buy now and pay later. Figures compiled by Adobe Analytics showed a record number of Black Friday shoppers decided to give up those impulse buys with a more strategic shopping plan. The report shows they prefer the short-term financing that allows them to make purchases now and pay for them in several installments over time. Typically, those payments are interest-free if they are paid on time. Apple Music rolling out a new feature to compete with Spotify's Wrapped feature. It is called Apple Music Replay. It will give users a look back at their year in music, looking at their top songs, artists, and albums they streamed. The feature will also show total minutes spent listening to music on the app and the total number of artists they listened to. You will also be able to visit monthly replay highlights on Apple Music to see your favorite tracks of the month. I'm Pam Cook. That's a look at your dollars and cents.
All right, Pam, thank you so much. Time now is 8:28. A burglary spree at a North Bay mall. We'll hear from business owners who are on edge following the break-ins.
A growing memorial at the scene of a mass shooting that left 4 people dead at a birthday party in Stockton over the weekend. How the family of one child killed is grieving the deep loss and who his father thinks was the intended target. The White House is cleaning house and courtrooms, how recent mass firings of judges could reshape how immigration cases make their way through the justice system, and the big push to hire what the administration is calling deportation judges. Then Oaklanders with a lead foot being put on notice, how soon new speed cameras will be up and running and where you're more likely to be caught, even though there are no police officers around.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Garcia Micaelian.
I'm Andre Sr. It's Tuesday, December 2nd. Can't believe it. We're already close to the end of the year. And right now we're talking weather. We've got the cold weather. We also got that coastal flood advisory in effect. Roberta Gonzalez in the Weather Center this morning with more.
Yeah, it's very busy at the seashore. I wouldn't recommend trying to even go next to the pier and watch these big waves because they come in sets. So sometimes you think, it's all calm. I'm going to get a little bit closer. But then 20 minutes later, bam, there you go. And for the most part this morning, right there, right now, I've been noticing waves 8 to 10 feet. And this is why we do have a beach hazard statement in effect for the Pacifica coastline. In fact, not only do we have that beach hazard statement in effect for Pacifica, but pretty much all the way north to Humboldt County and all the way south to the Santa Cruz beaches. Rip currents are also very vigorous. Water temperatures 57 degrees and the waves will excel to 12 feet. Onshore we go. How about 37 degrees in Santa Rosa, 39 degrees in Walnut Creek, 43 in Palo Alto. It's in the mid-40s around the peninsula. Visibility still problematic north of the Golden Gate Bridge. Half a mile visibility in Concord, Clayton, and Crockett. 5 miles at Mineta International Airport. We will enjoy some hazy sunshine today. Yes, Livermore, I do guarantee you will see some sunshine the first time in perhaps about a week now. 63 Redwood Shores. Hey, Sal, next time around, I really want to jump up and down and talk about the coastal flood advisory that went into effect at 6 o'clock this morning all the way through the weekend and talk about how it will impact our weather and the conditions here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I look forward to that. It's a good information, and you've heard Roberta and Amanda say never turn your back to the ocean. So this is one of those things. We're going to be talking about that. All right, let's start northbound 680 right near Alum Rock. There's an overturned SUV in a crash. There's usually not a lot of slow traffic here, but it's affecting 101, 680, 280 interchange. And nearby, there's a bunch of slow traffic. Now, downtown San Jose is clearing out, but the rest of San Jose seems to be slow. 880 northbound is also getting slow driving into downtown Oakland. And we don't see a lot of improvement yet at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. It's 8:33. Let's get back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. Oakland will become the second city in our state to install high-tech speed cameras.
The cameras will give you a citation if you're caught speeding more than 11 miles an hour above the speed limit. KTVU's James Torres is live in Oakland with how soon those cameras will be installed. James.
Yeah, Andre Garcia, we're at one of 18 intersections where the city of Oakland wants to install these cameras, and they want them in place by the end of next month. They say those cameras will only oversee about 8% of streets in the city of Oakland, but it'll account for about 60% of where those bad accidents as a result of speeding tend to happen. Now, you won't see any of those cameras in the hills or near the Oakland Coliseum, but they will stretch from downtown to West Oakland to the Fruitvale District to Glenview and parts of the Hagenberger corridor. After that last camera is installed, a 60-day grace period will begin. That's when cameras will start issuing warnings for anyone caught driving more than 11 miles an hour faster than the speed limit. It'll scan your license plate and then send you a notification in the mail. Then after that grace period is over, you'll risk fines worth anywhere between $50 to $500 depending on how fast you're driving. Of those 18 cameras, 4 will be placed in District 7, represented by Councilmember Ken Houston, who tells me this is a long time coming.
The Hagenberger corridor from 73rd all the way down to the airport, people are rushing, driving. They think it's a freeway, and they've been used to it for so long, driving 60, 70 miles an hour, and that's not going to be allowed any longer. We had fatal accidents there, and things have to stop.
Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee applauds the technology, saying in part, too many Oaklanders are being hurt or killed because of dangerous speeding. This program is a smart, life-saving step forward and brings us closer to streets where everyone can travel safely. City leaders say this is necessary because there are some intersections where more than 10,000 drivers were speeding more than 11 miles an hour, all in just a day. San Francisco became the first city to use this technology, and city leaders there say after 6 months, they saw a 70% decrease in speeding in some of the city's worst areas. We're live this morning in Oakland. I'm James Torres, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, James, thank you so much. 8:36 is your time now. The people who unleashed a hail of bullets on a children's birthday party in Stockton still have not been captured this morning. The FBI is now offering a $50,000 reward for information that leads to the arrests. That's in addition to the $25,000 already announced by Stockton's mayor. 4 people, including 3 children, were killed in the gunfire. At least 11 others were wounded. While Stockton's mayor says the shooting could be gang-related, the sheriff's office says it's too early to know for sure. Meantime, the family of 1 child killed in the attack is remembering and honoring him. Amari Peterson attended Saturday night's birthday party with his parents and 3 siblings. The 14-year-old father says his son left his side for a moment when shots rang out inside the banquet hall. The victim's father said he performed CPR on his wounded son before paramedics arrived, but the 8th grader died at the hospital.
I feel so bad about not being able to save him. For my son to only be 14 and to lose his life, it's like,
we were planning where he was going to go to high school, and now we're here planning for him.
Peterson says he thinks the shooter was aiming at a local rapper when he opened fire. The victim's 12-year-old sister survived the attack after a bullet grazed her arm. The Peterson family has started an online fundraiser to help with Amari's funeral expenses. Police in San Rafael are still searching for those responsible for 5 weekend burglaries at a popular shopping mall. Surveillance video shows burglars breaking into a donut shop at the Northgate 1 shopping center shortly after 3 o'clock Saturday morning. The thieves used hammers to break the glass door. The co-owner of the business was busy making donuts at the back of the shop when he heard the sound of shattered glass.
I heard something crack, that I come out. I see my door is broke down. I see 2 guys in the door, front door, 2 guys. After that, as I look inside, I have 1 guy in my shop, you know. After that, I'm shocked. I loud, I call, oh my God, and they hear me, they saw me, they run away.
The thieves also broke into an ice cream parlor, a bagel shop, a taco shop, and a Thai restaurant. That morning at that same Terra Linda Mall, there is no word yet on how much money was stolen or the total cost of damage.
Time is 8:38. The recent firing of several long-serving immigration judges in the Bay Area and nationwide has left the bench severely understaffed. The immigration courts are under the control of the Justice Department. Now, when we asked for comment on this, we were told the Executive Office for Immigration Review declines to comment on personnel matters. Critics of the move say thousands of cases are now in limbo amid a growing backlog. Let's explore what this could mean for asylum seekers and detained immigrants here in the Bay Area by welcoming Abby Sullivan-Engen, Immigrants' Rights Practice Directing Attorney of Centro Legal de la Raza. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
What's the practical effect of those firings here in the Bay Area?
Well, the immigration court backlog across the country is several millions of cases, and in San Francisco, it's among the highest, if not the highest backlog. So before any of these firings, we were routinely seeing hearings scheduled out into 2029. Wow. So now we have a decimated bench and hearings that are currently scheduled for, the upcoming months, even the upcoming years, are going to be scheduled farther out, while what we expect is going to happen, the Justice Department looks for judges who are more inclined to order people deported to fill these spots.
We saw Secretary Kristi Noem go to social media, make a big public push to hire immigration judges, in her words, deportation judges. They're looking to hire people in major cities such as San Francisco and others in the Bay Area, some salaries above $2,000 a year. They're offering cash incentives to work in San Francisco. What message does that send?
The message is very clear when they're calling them deportation judges. These are supposed to be fair, impartial venues for people to have their cases heard. Mm-hmm. And the judges that are being dismissed are the judges who either have a background in representation of immigrants and immigration legal services, or who have higher than average asylum grant rates. But, the notion that we are eliminating bias in our immigration courts by firing these judges, which is what I have heard the Department of Justice say on multiple occasions, is just preposterous. They're certainly not firing the judges who have high asylum denial rates. Mm-hmm. And what they are doing is looking for people who are exactly going to be deportation judges to fill these roles.
You think the firings are targeted?
Oh, 100%. There's really no question. There's a lot of data regarding individual judges' grant rates in asylum cases, and those who have very, very, very low grant rates, not a single one has been fired. The ones who have been fired have either much higher grant rates than average or, sort of hovering around 50% grant rates. And the ones that we've seen with the lower grant rates have actually a background in immigration legal services. So they're targeting based on those two things.
So if judges are supposed to be impartial, what accounts for the different grant rates?
Asylum law and immigration law generally is very complicated and is open to a lot of interpretation. So you don't just see this in immigration court. You see this in federal court where different judges have higher criminal sentences as their average sentences.
Right. Boy, she runs a tight ship. You're really in trouble if you get her as a judge, but if you get him, you might be better. That's sort of an idea in a criminal situation.
So that's true in any court. And I think important distinction in immigration court is, like you said, they're part of the Department of Justice, so they're not actually insulated from politics. And under this Department of Justice, we have an Attorney General who has really shattered all the norms of the independence of the Department of Justice. So they are already under immense pressure to not give people due process, to order people deported without a full and fair hearing, and this is only increasing that pressure.
Many people say that this is another tactic by the White House to create fear. Are you seeing that happening?
Absolutely. I mean, we're not just seeing this example of judges being fired. We're seeing people being deported, being arrested when they follow the law and show up for their hearings. So this is really about eliminating any sense of due process for non-citizens, and frankly, an overall much larger campaign that's an assault not only on the rule of law, but the very structure of the federal government. We're seeing this as part of thousands and thousands of firings of federal employees that is just utterly unprecedented.
So what are asylum seekers doing?
Well, asylum seekers are really stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if they don't go to court, they will be ordered deported in their absence. If they do go to court, they risk being arrested by ICE in court. So a lot of people are unfortunately choosing to not go to their hearings because they believe it's less risky to have a deportation order looming out there than to be physically arrested at their hearing. But those who do go to court or have been waiting for their hearings for years and years, many are now seeing their hearings bumped out from, somebody who's been waiting for up to 8-10 years for their asylum merits hearing might suddenly learn that because their judge has been fired, their hearing is going to be in 2027, 2028.
I heard the radio ad again over the weekend. Secretary Noem telling people to self-deport if they're not here in the country legally. Have you met with or talked with anybody who has chosen to leave on their own?
We have definitely spoken with people that are exploring that option. I think that some people believe that this sort of dignified and safe life that they had hoped to pursue here is no longer a reality here when we are in this environment of increasing hostility and violence towards immigrants. So yes, certainly people are considering that option.
Right, it's another part of the conversation. We'll have to leave it here. Abby Sullivan-Engen, immigrants' rights practice directing attorney at Centro Legal de la Raza. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Andre.
Well, this morning, San Francisco has a new supervisor on its board. Alan Wong was sworn in for District 4 yesterday afternoon. The new supervisor said he's honored to represent his neighborhood. He also said he voted against Proposition K, which turned the Great Highway into Sunset Dunes Park. Wong says he's open to revisiting the issue.
I will be meeting with stakeholders that supported both the closure of the Great Highway and those that supported the compromise, and ensure moving forward, before I make any decisions, major policy decisions, that I have public legitimacy and trust.
Supervisor Wong also facing a controversial vote on Mayor Lori's family zoning plan in his first board meeting today. He says he will vote in favor of the mayor's housing proposal. You're watching Mornings on 2. It is 8:45, and we'll be right back.
Families from across the Bay and beyond will be heading to Christmas Tree Lane in Alameda, known as the perfect spot to get into the holiday spirit.
Yeah, it's a beloved Bay Area holiday tradition that began 87 years ago. This was the scene last night, shortly after the lights went on along Christmas Tree Lane. It's an event that locals say gets more popular every year. Dozens of neighbors who live along this Christmas Tree Lane take part in the festivities, decking out their homes with eye-popping seasonal lights and ornaments. They've been working for the past several weeks to create one truly amazing holiday show that attracts visitors from miles away.
Cold, it's chilly, but we made it. I just feel like it brings us back to our childhood.
It's exciting. We see a lot of little kids coming. That's probably the best part. People always ask, do you have to sign a contract or something? We don't have any of that.
Some people in this neighborhood say they had to rush to get their homes ready for this holiday event. One Christmas tree elf says his holiday wish was to have more time to get ready.
I look at mine and go, yeah, mine looks good. And I look at everybody else that have been doing this for a long time and go, oh yeah, I'm just a rookie.
Well, there is still plenty of time if you want to pay a visit to Christmas Tree Lane in Alameda. The lights along Thomas Avenue will be on every night between now and New Year's Day.
3, 2, 1, light it up. I said, light it up.
San Francisco's Castro district held the annual lighting of the neighborhood tree adorned in rainbow colors. The streets were packed, people out enjoying live music and the feeling of community.
You know, a lot of businesses closed during COVID and just want to see Castro revitalized. There's still some empty storefronts, so, you know, I love community events. We love community events, small businesses.
Across town, the Nob Hill Association held its annual holiday tree lighting last night. Huntington Park all dressed up in lights, giant nutcrackers, and candy canes.
For the second year in a row, Oakland is receiving national recognition for its restaurant scene. More than 700,000 votes. Readers of Condé Nast Traveler voted Oakland as the #1 city for food in the country. It was also honored in last year's list. Participants highlighted Oakland's Temescal neighborhood, including several restaurants in that area. And they also praised the Fruitvale district for its taco trucks as well. San Francisco was also honored as the 5th best food city for its farm-to-table cuisine and seafood.
You may be hungry there. 8:50, we have a little improvement on some of these commutes. The Bay Bridge is improving a little bit, I can tell. So if you have a half hour to wait, it'll probably be much better. New crash, northbound 101 near Candlestick exit, the point there. And traffic is backed up out of San Francisco, out of South City. Northbound 101 slow out of, pardon me, South City getting into San Francisco. San Mateo Bridge is going to be moderate. We look at the East Bay commute, and you can see 24 and 680 is still slow. And again, I want to mention northbound 101 near the Candlestick exit. I put it on the map here for you. I would use 280. 280 is better than 101, especially if you're coming up the peninsula. Just use 280. You'll have some slowing in Daly City, but I'd probably do that instead of 101 at this point. 8:51. Let's bring Roberta back in here with today's weather.
Sal, a picture is worth a million words here. It tells a story, right? Okay, so Chip Vaughn, he's our photojournalist. He's on the scene this morning just right outside the Pacifica Pier. And first off, we've been having some big monster waves crash up against the seawall there. And it's causing ponding on the sidewalk there, on the boardwalk. But also, we have it colliding with high tide. And it's king tides, which means it's about a foot above average as far as your high tide is concerned. So that's why it's so dangerous out there, not only because of the flooding, but because these waves come in sets. And sometimes you'll get a large wave and you'll say, ooh, isn't that great? And then it may be another 10 to 20 minutes before you get another large wave. So you think you're in the clear and you go out to the jetty or to the rocks and you get smacked by one of these waves here. Don't do it. Stay off the jetties, stay off the rocks. Right now, outside Pacifica, the waves have been anywhere between 7 and 10 feet. We do expect them to escalate to about 12 feet. That's why we have that beach hazard alert in effect until tomorrow night at 10 p.m. In addition to this beach hazard alert, with those swells building, we do have the rip currents as well, and the water temperature is 57 degrees. Now, let's talk about the flood advisor, because we have king tides. Yep, it's time of the year for that. Right now, we have the high tide 6.6 feet, so it's going to cause some flooding around the ferry building in San Francisco and also the Embarcadero and in San Leandro. Alejandro, right around the marina. Right now in the North Bay, we have visibility issues down a quarter of a mile in Santa Rosa, otherwise 3 miles in Livermore. Dense fog advisory is also in effect for the Central Valley till 11 a.m. 37 degrees in Santa Rosa. It was 39, jumped up to 41 in Livermore, 48 Palo Alto. Inside slider. That right there, bubbling over the ridge of high pressure. It's precipitation free, but it's drying us out. Can you feel that static cling this morning? The relative humidity is going down. The winds will increase beginning tonight. Clearing of the skies, temperatures 59 to 65 degrees. I know you said that before, that it was going to clear out, and it never did. East Bay, you've been socked in. You will see some clearing today. Your extended forecast is called for windy conditions on Wednesday, a mix of sun and clouds all the way through Sunday. And Andre, I don't see a raindrop in sight.
Oh, thank goodness, because we have that cooler weather that we'll be dealing with. Don't need any rain right now. Roberta, thank you so much. Time now is 8:54. New concerns surrounding children and smartphones. When you join us on the 9, the mental and physical health challenge that may come with owning a smartphone and how it's fueling calls for parents to take a closer look at when kids are truly ready. $8:56 is your time. A well-known drag queen is on a backpacking trip to San Francisco to raise money for nonprofits. The drag queen Patagonia set out on her 100-mile trip Sunday from Point Reyes National Seashore. She hopes to raise $1 million for 8 nonprofits that make the outdoors a more welcoming space for people of color and queer people. Patagonia outlined the trip's details in a recent post on social media.
Now I'm 100 miles north of San Francisco, and I'm going to take all week to fundraise and backpack all the way down the coast, getting in drag every single day, setting up camp every single night, crossing the Golden Gate Bridge, and into my final show of the year. That is, if I can make it in time. And if you're wondering, Patty, are you really doing this? I am. I'm insane. But you know what? I will do anything to support these incredible nonprofits that do so much work to diversify the outdoors. Here are 2 ways that
Well, she hopes to raise $1 million in time for her drag show at the Warfield in San Francisco this Saturday. At last check, she's raised more than $400,000.
Happening today, a South Bay event planner due in court after being accused of scamming families out of thousands of dollars. 51-year-old Juan Martin Gaspar has a plea hearing this afternoon. He faces felony charges of grand theft. Prosecutors say he pocketed money from at least 7 families and didn't pay vendors that supplied things like decorations and food for quinceañeras, traditional celebrations common in Latin American cultures to mark a girl's 15th birthday. Gaspar is out on bail, ordered not to work as an event planner while his case goes through the courts.
San Francisco will sue makers of ultra-processed food products over the health impact to its residents. City Attorney David Chu will be filing a lawsuit against 10 major companies that make products most people consider junk food, such as Coca-Cola, Doritos, as well as products marketed as healthy when they aren't. The city's accusing companies of being deceptive in their marketing and violating California's competition and advertising laws. It also argues the unhealthy food is negatively impacting people's health. None of the companies targeted in the suit have commented.
The Alameda City Council will meet to consider an ordinance that would ban the sale and distribution of Mylar balloons in that city. Supporters of the measure say Mylar balloons can cause power outages and electrical hazards when they come into contact with power lines. A PG&E study conducted in 2022 found they caused more than 400 outages in its service areas in northern and central California. The blackouts affected more than 200,000 homes and businesses. A state law will ban Mylar balloons starting in 2031. We're taking a quick break, and we'll be right back here as Mornings on 2 the 9 starts under clear, cold skies on this beautiful Tuesday in just 60 seconds. We'll be back.